from Doggy U, and this is Casey Van Ness and her dog Oni. And today we're going to be talking all about toy play and tug with your dog. So we're going to be going over what not to do, what to do, and how to develop cooperative play with your dog. So let's get started. So I met Casey about 7 years ago when I was first starting out in agility with Cool Whip. She is an expert on toy play, so I wanted to bring her on so you can really get some expert tips on how to play with your dog. So Casey, take it away.
So one of the main problems that we need to overcome with toy play first is just going to the store and picking out which toys you think your dog will be most successful playing with. There's so many different toys on the market, and that really depends on the size of your dog, the age of your dog, and the breed tendencies of your particular dog. So for example, if you have a puppy at home, you really want to pick toys that are very long so that the puppy is most likely to be biting and tugging on the actual toy and not your hand. Puppies have a really hard time figuring out which part of the toy to grab, and so oftentimes you'll have this nice big toy or something like this that you might pick up at your local pet store, and you're trying to get your puppy to play with just this part of the toy, but really that puppy is going to be biting all over your arm. So this is a pretty standard size toy. I would say that you could get your local big box store, and we really want to gravitate towards things that are even larger than that. So for example, these two are very good for baby puppies to be playing with because you can dangle this on the ground and have lots of room between you and puppy mouth. And puppies in particular have all their baby teeth and are going to go through teething phase. So you want to make sure that you have at least some options for them that are very soft and very squishy when they do bite hold of them, because something like this that's a little bit harder might be a little bit more of a negative for them when they bite onto it. For different breeds, lots of them have different preferences for toy play. So if you have a breed, for example, like a retriever, who might be way more into bringing you stuff so that you can throw it again for them, then would recommend sticking to balls, especially balls on rope, so that you can play tug with them when they bring them back to you. For starters, there are also longer toys for ball on rope with a little bit of fluff that makes that a really good time for them if they have that tendency. If they love to chase, then we love some frisbees. We can throw them like rollers on the ground, or these type of pullers come in a bunch of different sizes depending on the size of your dog, and also good for dogs that like to chase and then possibly play tug when you come back to it. And then anything else that's more like terrier type, or things that want to just pursue. Chicken interruption. And then for terrier types, or dogs that are really just into a lot of sniffing, searching, digging, and maybe don't have as much intensity when it comes to playing tug, you want to definitely gravitate towards toys that resemble prey. Try and find things like this toy, which is actual rabbit fur on here. It really makes the terrier types very happy to play with this toy. And things with lots of tendrils, lots of length, so that you can make lots of movement and really create a very much replica of a living being when you're playing with them. And the final type of toy that you might find in your store is a toy that also can have food loaded into it. So this is for dogs that, again, are more on the hunting end of the spectrum, where they really are needing some sort of delivery of food to get them invested into the play. So you can put cookies right into this lotus ball, you then Velcro it together, and you can now play tug or just throw this, and the dog is able to, once they go over to it, use their nose to feed themselves the treats. And then these specific toys that we're talking about today, we really want to make sure that they are only coming out when we are playing and working on our toy skills with them. These types of things are not exactly the most robust when it comes to them ripping, shredding, and generally tearing at them. So I think that it's a great idea for your dog to have regular toys that they can play with all the time and have full access to, and then just keep these special for when they're going to interact with you.
And hey, if you're liking this video so far, be sure to head on down and boop that like button. It lets me know that you're getting value from these videos and want to see more. Cool Whip Jake and I would be so grateful.
Now we're going to talk about toy skills. So when you start your session, you really want to have 2 identical toys. So for this example with Oni, I have 2 exact replica ball on ropes. And this is for a couple of reasons. When you're building toy skills, you might not have perfected your out or your trading yet with your dog, and that's because possession and toys kind of goes hand in hand for them. So when they are still young and developing these skills with you, learning how to play the game cooperatively, you just want to avoid conflict over possession. And possession is not equal to resource guarding. That's not that I'm going to reach down and the dog is going to growl or try and bite me over the toy being taken from them. It is just that all dogs pretty much have a knee-jerk reaction to want to keep the toy for themselves, especially when it's something very fun, new, novel, etc. Some breeds have a higher probability that they will have some more possession than other breeds. So for example, Border Collies don't have a huge amount of possession in their genetics, but something like a German Shepherd, for example, might have more feelings about wanting to keep and carry that toy with them and not want to trade it out to play tug or have another throw. So our general rule of thumb with toys and our toy skills is going to be just because we can do something doesn't mean we should. We're going to talk a lot about the safe ways to play tug and the fair ways to play tug with your dog. And part of that is going to be assigning cues or names for your different toy skills. So for example, I want to have a word that means strike the toy, so that I can be standing here with my toys and I'm not worried about him coming over and accidentally grabbing one from me. Most of the time when dogs accidentally grab from you, they're not just going to take the toy and run away, they're going to accidentally put their teeth onto your skin. And that's what we're trying to avoid on our end. So on their end, we're trying to explain a system so that toys are very clear for them, so that they know exactly what's coming next and they can prepare their body and do that task. One of the most important words that you can be teaching first is the cue to strike the toy or to take the toy. That will start your game of tug. So what I'm going to do right now is, since I have 2 toys, I'm going to highlight the one that I would like him to strike, and then I'm going to give him the cue that he can go ahead and take the toy. For him, the cue is take. Take. And then when we're tugging, we want to make sure we are really keeping the dog on the ground, all 4 feet, and we are tugging back and forth in like a windshield wiper kind of motion, so that their spine is doing like a snake kind of S. You do not want to take them and hop them up and down. It's very hard on their shoulders and their necks. We want to go side to side. And then what's really important with tug is letting go. If we don't need to play for a super, super long time, and then to invite your dog in a cooperative way back to playing tug again, if that's what you would like to do, you are just going to open your hands, be very blatant about what we're trying to accomplish here, and encourage your dog to bring the toy back to you for you to close your fingers on, instead of you going and constantly going towards them. Now, he's not going to care if I go towards him, but I still insist that he brings the toy back to me. That's going to give me a lot of information. If this particular dog takes the toy off away from me when I let go, instead of trying to give it back to me to play more, that's going to give me some information that maybe he's tired, needs a break, or he's getting a little overstimulated by our play. After I let go of the ball last time, Oni ran off into the shade and took a break, and I think we can all see exactly why. It's a very humid day here in Connecticut, and we are shooting in the sun, and so that's what I'm saying. There's just sometimes valid reasons about why the dog is taking the toy away from you. So I'm going to let him have a break, and then when he brings the toy back into the shot, we will start again. Once we have a word that means strike the toy, you can now start using your toy to reinforce other behaviors. So I'm going to show you how to switch him off onto another toy, which is going to help you with your outing. To switch the toy, present the second toy, keep it still, and then make this toy that we're playing with now not fun anymore. Switch. Good boy. And start engaging with this one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Psh, psh, psh. So good. Another cue you'll want to introduce really quickly is your throwing cue. So this just tells him that I am going to actually throw the toy a distance like a retrieve. So his word is throw, and I don't know if you can see it from your angle here, but every time I say that, his body reacts to it because he knows that what comes next is going to be a toss. Then we're always asking him to bring back the toy with open palms, backing up, and then we're going to reinforce the bringing back and connecting with our hand with a little bit of tug. If this makes the dog more likely to bring the toy back to you after you have tried it for a little while, then you know that tug is reinforcing bringing the toy to you because it's happening easier and easier. Throw. That'd be another reason why I like cues that mean throwing toys, is I got a beautiful out on that toy without having to utilize my out, which can be really demotivating to a lot of dogs. Sit, throw. Some other cues that you can use are catch, look back, and get it, which is get a dead toy on the ground. So I'll show you those with Oni. They all are very helpful for different types of playing. And when I want to be giving this very clear information to my dog so that they can prepare for what's coming next, this is what I mean. I mean, if I say look back, he prepares himself to turn around. And if I say throw, he prepares himself to run out for the toy. It's not fun for them to get it wrong. So that's why I never want to throw a toy for fake. I want to always be telling him what exactly I'm doing with the toy. Because it's just no fun to be out there looking around for a toy on the ground that wasn't actually thrown, or that we miscommunicated and he thought something else was going to happen. We want to keep disappointment and frustration far away from our toy skills. So, take, out, take, good boy. Lots of times when you're outing the toy, it's also very helpful to reinforce by letting them strike it again. Out, sit. I can reinforce my stay with look back. Good, and now instead of coming forward when he's released out of that position, he is going backwards, which is only going to help solidify his stay behavior more. Out. Come here. Sit. I can throw my toy. Get it. And send him for it. And then I can also make sure that he is really listening and paying attention when these skills are very keen and finished here. Out. Sit. And I can tell him exactly what's going to happen. Okay, lie down. Get it. So did you see how he went off a little bit slower that time? He almost anticipated that I was not going to say touch the ball and started to slow down for his lie down that he knew was coming next. So that's just a couple of ways of how this can really help some of your training behaviors. All right, so now we're ready to end our session. Make sure that you're keeping these things short. They're obviously very physically and mentally taxing for your dog because toys are really, really, really important to a lot of dogs. Ouch. And when we stop playing, it can be really disappointing to them and make them want to take that toy, possess it, and keep it away from us so that we don't end the session. So a couple of ways to end the session would be, one is to say your scatter cue and throw a bunch of food on the ground. It is important to me that my dogs can eat in the presence of toys, especially dogs like him that are really jacked up and really into playing with this toy. So let's just test that he can eat. So I'm going to give him his cue that means take a cookie. Yes. Very nice response there. He prepared himself to eat and then took the cookie from my hand. And then scatter. That means eat a bunch of food on the ground. And now I would take this toy in the case that I was ending the session and put it up and away. I don't want to do it as a trick, so I don't want to really carry it behind my back or trade him in a way that feels tricky to you. I want it to be very direct, that your job now is to eat food. My job is to take this toy and put it away somewhere safe. The second way that I like to end my sessions is by teaching them a cue that means you can take it off to the side and have it now. We're all done. And for him, that is, it's yours. This is really helpful for times where I'm resetting equipment, maybe just taking a smaller break versus an all done break. And I trust him with the toy that I am relinquishing to him. So sometimes I do this with more like balls on rope or tennis balls or frisbees, things like that. So it looks like this. Take. We're tugging, it's yours. And he takes it off with him to his rest spot. Everything that you saw here today is just meant as an outline for adapting and developing toy skills between you and your dog. If you are struggling with any aspect of this specifically, be sure to reach out to a qualified professional near you that can help you with your specific toy play.
All right, so we moved over into the shade because it is getting hot here in Connecticut. Casey, thank you so much for coming on. This was so much fun.
Yeah, I had so much fun. Thanks for having me.
And I'm sure you all learned so much. And if you want to learn more, we're actually going to head on over to Patreon right now. And Casey's going to talk all about human mechanics for toy play. So if that interests you, patreon.com/doggyu to learn more. Make sure you like this video, leave a comment if you have questions, and you all have an awesome day and happy training.